Ladies and gentlemen,
What up?
Geek-tastic Cypher. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. You?
Yeah, I'm chill. Whoa, my God, why am I distorted? Who knows? I don't understand what's happening with this machine. What is it? Mashugana?
Mashugana.
I don't know.
That sounds like the whitest thing you've ever said.
Probably. There's a good chance that it is the whitest thing I've ever said. Oh boy. Have you recovered from the fantastic weekend that was Montreal Comic Con?
My wallet, not so much.
yeah. I don't want to. Let's not talk about our wallets.
I don't want to. Oh, you too?
Did you see the video I did with all the prints?
I missed it. I didn't get a chance to.
God damn!
Yeah,
I went donkey crazy.
Oh man, I want to compare. For me, but no, seriously, my feet still kind of actually hurt to a certain degree, but that's only because during Comic Con I also went to the Roots. Well, I mean, as yourself, went to the Roots concert.
I told you to buy the mats.
We did have the mats. Mike had the mats, but
the mats he had is not the mat I was talking about.
Oh, you have even crazier ones?
Yeah, I'll send you the link for next time because I saw the mat you guys had and I was like, oh no, that's the mat I have for my workout, which is nice to have, but it's not the one. There's like an even better one that's probably a bit more expensive, but worth it. Like you feel like you're walking on a bloody cloud.
I'm super down because I mean, mind you, like it was a crazy weekend because like it was just, it was a lot of people. It was the first time there was like 62,500 people, they said. And that was wild. Like I remember going in on Friday because I went a little late to get behind the booth because I had to actually do like real work and stuff. But when I got to the booth, I was like, holy crap, this is a lot of people. Like this is pretty big. And we did pretty good as a booth considering like what we had available, and like we had a lot of fan art that we made, but we were able to cover the booth in a bit more.
Okay, I was just gonna ask. I didn't want to assume that you were willing to say because it's
I'm able to say that we had a good run this year. Like I'm more than proud to say that we were able to do that based off of what we had because like we had due to delays because of COVID, there were certain projects that didn't make it through because everyone had their own thing that they had to deal with.
Right.
So like we there were some pushbacks, but at the same time there were people who like, oh, I didn't get to see you last time. I wanted to buy this book. There was a lot of people who came by who actually said, do you have new books? And we're like, we do. Like we have it, but they're coming.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people were obviously very sympathetic to that, but like also a lot of people showed support via that. And they also like, they're buying, we made various prints of like some of our books and there was also some fan art that some of the guys did. And again, like we did a pretty good job of it. And like at the same time, it was good publicity. Like people were asking us about it. We ended up going to we did the Dead Narrative panel, which I know you were.
I always forget the title of the panel.
Yeah,
but I bragged about how great you were on your panel. So
thank you. No, that was really cool. So like that was like in my opinion a great success because well, one, we didn't just choke up there because honestly, right before going, I had no butterflies when I noticed that there was an actual lineup of people outside of ours because like when we and the guys were going to the door initially.
Yeah,
there was one area that had a bunch of people in front of it, and there was another door that had nobody in front of it. So I was like, okay, that's ours, but I'm just gonna wait for the guy to tell me where to go. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're waiting and waiting. The girl just is talking to us, and eventually I'm like, oh, so that one's ours? She's like, no, it's this one. And then I was like, what? And then I realized our conversation was one that she was assuming we knew we were already in front of ours, so she was just not gonna say it. So I was like, not like wondering about like, okay, like when are you gonna like point us in the right direction? Like I was like waiting for it. And after like 5 minutes, I was like, where's ours? They're like, this is yours. I'm like, why are there people? Like,
you knew the room number, didn't you?
No, I did, but I meant like I was so surprised by the turnout in general because like it's the first time I'm doing it. For most of the people there, well, except for Stefan, which I should say Mike, Chris, Stefan, and Anthony all did a great job. Thank you for being on the panel and whatnot. But like I know that Stefan had he's been doing it before. He's had some panels before, so like maybe that's also how some word got out there as well. But like just to see the general interest, and then when we had like actual interaction and whatnot, and it was a lot of fun. And when people were coming to us afterwards asking questions, whether it was about comic books or generals or horror stuff, it was a lot of fun. Like, I'm down to do more panels for sure if there's any reason to.
Hey man, I'm totally down to do panels. I've been wanting to do a panel. I have an idea for another panel, but one of the panels that I said to you, and we did the segment last week on the show, Judgment Call, I think that would make for
100%.
a great panel. I know Fan Expo in Toronto does the they used to do the artist duels.
Yes.
The sketch duels back in the day. So I don't know if they still do those, but you know, stuff like that, like where people are doing stuff but also competing, and it makes for some entertainment. And I feel like a panel where we really do Judgment Call, we get like some, we try and see if we can get potentially comic book artists who are there to be judges, and or any guests would be interesting to just have them come up and judge the debate. And you, good sir, would have to keep it clean because you are a foul-mouthed a-hole when it comes to this game.
That's a lot. That's a lot of my that's a lot of my persuasion, though. That's a lot of my persuasion. I mean, there's only one way to call a guy a bitch.
I mean, you're gonna have to come up. Son of a donkey is one of the ways that I say it, and
I'm gonna be like McFudgeon. That's gonna be my.
If that's what you think is the only way you could get away with it,
like, I don't know.
You start practicing now, sir. 2022, practice for 2023 because you're gonna need it. You are.
I like how you're gonna need it.
Well, just
feel like we're in one of those like campy 80 movies.
I know I can survive without swearing if I had to. If you said right now for the rest of this episode, do your best not to swear, I could get through the episode without swearing. I don't know that you would. If I brought up something that you genuinely like and we started discussing it, you'd probably break very easily.
Probably. I'm not gonna lie, because the problem is like I can't. The problem is I can do it, but it cannot be in concise matters because I'm constantly trying to figure out the nice way of saying it. So it becomes a long, drawn out conversation. Like I'll be like a female dog would not appreciate this type of.
That is like the worst. This is why I say son of a donkey.
Yeah, exactly. So even saying I'm like that doesn't even sound good, like in any way, and it makes me sound bad in other ways.
There's a documentary I watched at CMJ a couple years ago that was about swearing, and in it, Pat Boone, the singer. Let me see if I can find it. Pat Boone documentary swearing. Let's see if I can find the name of this documentary. No, that's not it. Incredible Stories. Oh, okay. So the documentary was called Fuck, a Documentary.
Sounds like my documentary.
And in it, Pat Boone and Ice-T and a whole bunch of people are there. And he talks about the fact that he uses his own name as a swear word. And people were, and then Ice-T found out, and Ice-T was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna use that from now on." And Ice-T started going, "Yeah, last night I booned my wife," and it became like a whole joke to him to use boon to replace the F word.
That's
and I was just like, okay.
But that's that's a good way around it. But like, I'm not gonna be like I cozy-old, Okay.
That sounds like a good swear word. I cozy-old out of that.
But you can't say the fuck. That's the point.
Or I guess it would be I cozy-old the cozy-old out of that. You're gonna have to smurf it. You're gonna have to smurf it.
I caused-old about it. I have to like elongate it. I gotta try and create two words in one. I caused and oiled it.
I love how we're supposed to be talking about Montreal Comic Con as a recap, and instead we're trying to figure out better swear words. But
to keep it clean for next year's Montreal Comic Con.
There you go. Full circle segue, kids. But you know what? Yeah, I gotta say, having not been able to go to Comic Con for 2 years because they canceled them because of the pandemic, and really missing it. Like I really did. When I got there on the first day and I picked up my badge, I was like, okay, I'm gonna walk the floor for a couple minutes, then I'm gonna head out because I'm going to see Thor: Love and Thunder, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit. And I got to the floor, and that feeling, and I think again, one of the only reasons I think I was comfortable with it is because I had recently caught COVID. So I was in the mind frame of like, okay, I've caught COVID. I am not as concerned. about getting sick. So I walked the floor. I had my mask on. I was still wearing my Vader mask, my respirator mask, even though I was less concerned. I wasn't freaked out as much. Walked the floor, had a good time. Went to you guys' booth 2331. Went to a whole bunch of different people. Spoke to Seymour Designs. Spoke to Tall and Quirky and Tina Tran. I Am Wonder. Spoke to just the list goes on and on of all the people that I got to catch up with that I hadn't seen in a couple years. Beto, the artist from Toronto who does the hip hop covers. I didn't get to see Christian Bolanos because he wasn't there, but I did get to see his booth. They had really great, this new company that was doing glass work where they print on the back of glass.
I got one of those.
I was tempted to, but I was in my head. The only reason I didn't get it is because I told myself I want to support the smaller local artists first before looking into supporting this mass producing glass company who I don't know if their stuff is even licensed. That's one of the things I feel a little bit weird about. It's one thing to me if a artist in Artist Alley does fan art and I buy fan art from them. It's another thing to me if someone rents a booth and is mass producing images that they don't have the license to.
But they were in the exhibitors section though,
right?
Which means that hypothetically speaking,
they
should have licenses for those, right? Because they be able to be.
They should.
But are you saying you've done your investigation and they don't?
I don't know that they don't. But I you know what? I'll tell you one thing. There's one company that I know for a fact that used to be in the exhibitors section that wasn't there this year, and I know that the stuff that they were selling was not licensed.
Because I ended up getting, it's a funny
story. I'm not judging those guys. I'm not saying don't enjoy the prints you got. I'm just saying for me at that time, what I wanted to do was support fan art by local artists more so than someone who I can't check. Because, Chris, for example, doing his pieces, Chris is just doing fan art. I'm buying his awesome fan art.
Which he sold all his TNMTs, which was great.
Wonderful. I'm so happy for him because those were beautiful pieces. But when I'm saying these guys, those glass guys, they're not local, smaller based artists. They have an exhibitor's booth that is sky high with 5 or 6 people working it, selling prints from anime shows, Marvel heroes, DC stuff. And so it's you guys got the license for all of this? I don't know. So I'd rather buy the fan art from Chris and Tall and Quirky and Beto and Seymour Designs and Christian Bolanos and everyone else that I bought from than I would those particular people.
Yeah. For me, it was that this year I tried, I completely failed. I thought I was gonna be oh yeah, it's been a while. I shouldn't go crazy. I went pretty crazy. But one thing I never was looking for was art because what's it called? You're just I'm with my partner now and we're going to be doing our own thing and whatnot. So it's I don't want to infiltrate the house with different random art. Right. But at one point in time, we were looking at stuff and out of that, I don't know if you could see it properly, but did you see this one?
No, I did not see that one.
So it's a Roshi. It's a dope Roshi one for those who might be.
I was going to say, it's a you guys are listening to it.
Yeah. It's a dope close up of Roshi's face. He's smoking something and he's decked out in Gucci stuff. And I was just looking at it. I was pointing it out to her. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And she's like, yeah, I'd go halfsies on that. I'm like, what?
Oh, cool.
She's like, I'm like, were you not trying to sell me on them? I'm like, and she's like, you realize because she's of her fashions, because she's into fashion. She's responsible. She's into fashion. And she loves Gucci. But she likes the street art and stuff like that as well. Okay. So she's showing me cool street art or cool art of Gucci before we actually have a painting of a Lego Gucci type thing.
Oh, dope. Okay.
And she saw that and she's like, were you not trying to sell that on me? And I'm like, well,
were you trying not to pitch me on this?
Yeah, exactly. And I was there. I'm like, well, I guess I am now because I like it that much too. So
it's just yes. Sure. I mean, I am trying to pitch you on this wonderful thing that we should hang in our house so that we are excellent geeks and nerds who have beautiful art.
Yeah, but to reiterate what you were saying from before in regards to first getting there.
Yeah.
There was a nice, I don't know about you, but I felt you know when you haven't been somewhere in a really, really long time,
Right.
and then you
Yes.
go there and there's like a smell, there's like a certain like
Well, I don't know if I want to say
feeling.
smell. Feel,
No,
yeah.
but like you know what I'm
I'll say
saying? Like
feeling.
there's
Yeah.
like so the smell is more like when you go to like a specific, let's say, cottage or
Sure, sure, sure.
natural place that you
Yeah. I
regularly
don't
go
know if
to.
Place des Arts
Yeah,
Montreal Comic Con smell is the first thing I want to
yeah,
remind
but
you.
like that sense of like
But
there's like it
I
has a
will
certain
say
sound
it
and
was
vibe.
I had my mask on, so maybe I didn't smell it because of that. But when I did take my mask off, the smell didn't overwhelm me this time, as it has in past years.
Which is surprising because there's a lot more people in
Oh my
this year.
god, yes, yes,
But
yes.
I just liked being around that energy again.
Yeah, yeah,
Again,
of course.
got too much this time around. I was more. This is the first year I tested out getting the mystery boxes.
Oh, right. Okay, so I've bought mystery boxes in the past. Opening them up is so much fun.
Yeah,
But so that's Stylin is the one you got from?
I actually did so. Thanks to my partner and her parents actually bought me two, like together they bought me two because they were just doing their thing and they just went and got me that. So shout out to them for that. But I got so they had the stylish ones which are like more I guess like the boxes. I have it close by, like it's actually designed
Yeah, 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 yeah.
on and whatnot. So you
Yeah.
had that vendor, but then you also had this other vendor which is just like a brown box and then there's a symbol on it. You're like, okay, that's
Okay.
what it is. So
For those of you who are listening to this, he held up a Zelda box first, and then the second one was a Star Wars Rebellion box.
yeah.
Did you
And
open them yet?
I did. That's
Oh,
why
okay.
I was gonna say like not necessarily a review of each one, but like I was gonna say like the quality difference between the two vastly different, but
Okay.
like more so that for what's you know the one that stand like the artsy one boxes, the what were you saying it was called before?
Stylin.
Stylin.
I think that's
Those
what they're called.
those guys, the thing I liked about them is like what was in the box was obviously more worth more than
Right.
what I paid
So
for.
those guys are the example of licensed because they are a licensed company. And I know that there was another mystery box company a couple years ago that also had boxes that look like theirs, and those weren't licensed boxes. So the difference between the licensed and the unlicensed boxes is the licensed boxes from Stylish or Stylin, whatever they're called. We'll
Yeah.
find out. We'll tell you guys next year, or we'll find it out later on.
Mm.
But those guys, because they have the license, the stuff in the boxes are licensed by the companies that they're working with.
Mm-hmm.
The other guys, what they were doing is they would make boxes and then you would get one item from the licensed company, but then they would fill it up with other random stuff that's not necessarily from that brand. So let's say you want to get a Captain America box, you might get a Captain America, I don't know, or like
Puppet, like stuffed animal or something like that or whatever.
right. Like I got the UA. What's the name of the show now that I'm drawing a blank on? It's an anime with the superheroes, Hero Academia. I got My Hero Academia, and I got a UA coaster in that box last time. But that was pretty much one of the only UA things. I got a coaster, and I got the lanyard. And that's it. Everything else in the box was just other random anime stuff, like a toy and stuff. And the stuff was cool, don't get me wrong, but it's not licensed to the one brand that the box is. Whereas with the Stylish, and again, I'm going to look it up.
Yeah. Well, while you look it up, I'll finish. We'll circle back to another point. Was that the Stylin? Let's assume that's the name. That one, like you're getting bare minimum. You're getting more what's worth in the box than what you pay for, but at the same time, the amount of stuff you like in the box is worth how much you paid for in the box, and the extra stuff is like cool, like you know what I mean. Whereas the other company, which I don't know, this brown box was just the spray painted whatever on it.
Yeah,
like one of them was actually fairly disappointing. I was like, I actually did the math. I'm like, you just skimmed about giving me maybe how much I paid for, which was odd, and like it wasn't. I admit it was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles box, and like maybe I should have asked if things would have been more kiddie. It's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you have two fan bases, like us and like children, right? So maybe that was my mistake on that.
Mm-hmm.
But the Star Wars one as well, it's like although I had enough, like it was the same value. I'm like, there was one cool thing, but the rest was a little bit more.
We were saying it right. The company is called Stylin, Stylin.
Yeah. But Stylin, one thing I want to give a shout out to there was two people there the whole time, a dude and a girl
with the ponytail.
Yeah, And that dude, shout outs to that dude, because when he realized I was going there to pick up like specific boxes, and I was like, really, it was like my first time, but I was willing to spend money to get like the little promo that they were doing. He's like, when I said Deadpool, he obviously knew I was a Deadpool fan, and he went and he like picked up one. He's like, nah. Picked up one, felt it, nah. And then he picked up like, yeah. And he gave me that one. He's like, I hope it's something really nice, but this feels like a winner. I'm like, that. Shout out to you, dude.
Yeah, that
you're
is
very cool.
That is
you're really, really cool. And in the end, what that ended up being was I have like these 2 Deadpool face plates.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I don't know when I'll use these, but at least I could be like, I'm the Deadpool fan that has plates.
Like plates that you can eat off of?
Yeah, like hold on a second.
Dude, those are, oh, you don't have to show them to me. I believe you.
But they're like his face.
I love those. Like, wait, they're shaped like his face, or
it's literally like, instead of like, imagine they took like one of those long plates.
Yeah.
They slightly shifted the top to be more like his hat.
Okay.
And they added like a little bit to the top, like a thin, like, because there's like the plate, and then there's like a little like, let's say extension.
You can go and get it to show.
It's in a box, but it's.
Oh, okay.
Well, if you want, I could, but
yeah, go ahead. Just because, while you're looking, I'll keep talking about something. One of the things that I do like about Styling is the one that I went to a couple years ago, where they had the Star Trek one, and what it was that year is you could buy a Star Trek school bag for $60, and then inside you got Star Trek merch that was filled, and I thought that was super cool because even for the $60, it was worth it for me to have the bag. I really like Star Trek. And the it's like the classic. All right, so for anyone who is watching this right now, Dave is showing us the plates. So once again, if you guys are listening to the show, we always recommend you guys hit us up on youtube.com/freeXagentsmedia, and you can watch the episodes there. This is episode 302. Or if anything, you guys can always also watch us on twitch.tv/geektasticcypher. And yeah, man, I mean, that is pretty cool though. The plate looks pretty dope. I think you might have muted yourself, buddy, but when you unmute yourself, I'll let you go.
Yeah, no, what I was saying is that what's cool about it is that the actual box itself was kind of themed. Like, I got plates, one of those mugs that I always wanted to buy, but I'm like, I'm just never gonna buy it, so I have it now.
Okay.
And then like there's like a cooking like apron thing where it's like French the chef instead of Kiss the chef, and it's like a stupid picture of him. But I'm like, this is like a theme within a theme, and if I ever want to, I could easily buy another Deadpool box that would be completely different than this box for sure. But again,
it's hard to find out, but yeah, like hopefully you can get a different one next time.
Yeah, well, I mean, let alone from feel, if one's lighter than this, because this one was significant. Like when you picked up the box, like it waned.
Oh, okay, because there was so much weight to it.
Yeah, like there was like everything in it was pretty heavy. That's why he's like, I don't know what's in here, but there has to be at least a winner in this box for you. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the thing. So when I got the Star Trek one that I was mentioning while you were looking for the plates, that one was $60. I got a really good stuff in it. And I remember thinking the next year, oh, I might want to get a different school bag one. And then I was just like, I don't know, do I want to spend another $60 for a school bag? But I did like the year that they had the school bags with full of stuff. And that when you bought the school bag, I mean, for $60, I still have that bag. I still use that bag. Like, I use that bag to go to work today, for example. It has a separate pouch for a laptop. It has pouches on the inside for a whole bunch of stuff. It has pouches on the side. It has a pouch in the front. So already with all the pouches and all the space that it has, I was like, oh, this is an impressive bag. And then on top of it, it came with a whole bunch of Star Trek stuff. I have like a Star Trek cup. I have a Star Trek like mini little figs. I got Star Trek little dolls that like Beanie Baby Star Trek that have the beans at the bottom so that they're weighed down. So, stuff like that. It was just like, oh, well, this isn't the end of the world that for $60. And again, you got the bag, which I think for me was one of the main attractions was getting a actual school bag that has lasted me years, because I bought that not the last Comic-Con, but maybe a couple Comic-Cons ago. So, Comic-Con is just a fun place to be, man. I mean, if this is your first time hearing about Comic-Con, I know a lot of people, and shout out to anyone who's tuning into the show for the first time or who's going to listen to this later, because I did meet a lot of people who are like, oh, I've never, I haven't heard of your show before. And I was just like, yeah, it's Geektastic Cypher. We do it every Wednesday at 6:30. So I had a lot of people who were just like, oh, I'm going to tune in. It'll be my first time. So shout outs to all of y'all. because we really do appreciate it. Shout outs to Dave too. Shout outs. Dave gave the podcast a nod while he was doing his panel, which definitely appreciated. Getting love while.
Why would I not?
No, I know. The one thing, and I'll mention it here now, that was so unfortunate was you gave the website, which was great, except the website's down. And I was so sad.
Oh shit! I
wanted to be like, I wanted to be like, send people to the YouTube, but it's not your fault because
I had no idea.
Exactly, I hadn't had a chance to mention to you that the site was. We're working on that, by the way. If you guys are fans of our podcast and have been visiting freexagents.com, I know we don't tend to post up often on the website, but all of the playlists and stuff like that auto generate with new content, so there's always just new content on the site. But unfortunately, for the time being, the site is down shortly, but the YouTube is still there. And once again, like I was saying before, at any point, if you want to watch us on YouTube, you can always subscribe at youtube.com/freeexagentsmedia. And you have Geektastic Cypher, that's canon episodes. You have the Morning Detour. You have Chop Vision podcast. And then we might try and add some other people in the future, because we have some other people who are working with us. And I feel like we should just have them also post their stuff on the site. Do we want to get into it? Do we want to jump to...
Which one's it? That there's a lot of it's that we could be talking
I mean,
about.
Thor
both
Thunder.
were fails.
Whoa. Whoa. We discuss, folks. We're jumping into Thor Love and Thunder. Once again, as usual, if you guys are listening to this show right now, understand that this will have spoilers. We've both seen the film. The film is out in theaters. If you're listening to this, we appreciate it. We love that you guys are tuning in. We just want to warn you in advance. If you are worried about spoilers, once again, I have Thor Love and Thunder on the screen. When I take it down, that is when we are finished talking about the film, and the spoilers will be done. So as long as it says Thor Love and Thunder on the screen, we are going to be talking about the movie, and spoilers may happen. Hit me. I mean, it's funny that you say this, because this is the first time that I think we're reversed, because I liked it.
Well, what I'll say is this. Okay, I could sum it up in two statements.
Okay.
One is I did enjoy watching it. However, there was just so much meh.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And other than Christian Bale and to a certain degree Chris Hemsworth, I felt everyone else phoned it in.
What?
Legit. I feel, and
Tessa
that,
Thompson
but it might be
King
caused.
Valkyrie was phoning it in.
But what may have caused me to think that way is because do not deny that they went extra on the campiness, which was because they derived it from what's his name telling a story of what happened. Because I'm sorry, some of the times when the cast was talking, I was like, that's not how that character talks. You know how this character talks, and it's not. I'm like, maybe this is the Korg version, but like, I don't give a fuck about Korg. I want to watch what happened.
Are you talking about when it was the Guardians at the beginning?
In general, I find when people talk, they did not talk like how they regularly would in these scenarios. There was many, there were so many of them that I can't, like, the movie.
I mean, I don't agree at all, but okay, let's discuss. So for me, Tessa Thompson, King Valkyrie, was killer. I thought she was great. I thought her energy the whole time was like, oh, you are King Valkyrie. You are not fucking around. You now run this shit, and you're a boss, and everyone needs to listen to you. And I like the energy that you brought to it. I think, if anything, the one person that I hated watching was Russell Crowe's Zeus.
That was even impalpable.
I hated his Zeus. I was like, it was just, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure it was comic accurate, because I know that Zeus is a pompous asshole in the comic books. But like, he considers himself the best god of the gods. But it was just like, because imagine his son Hercules, like, if you read the comic book, the way Hercules acts early on when he starts off as a character, he kind of doesn't care about people as much. He's kind of just a hero who's doing hero things because it helps his name to be a hero. Not necessarily that he cares about the task that he's doing. It's that it continues his legacy. And I feel like Zeus is equally, I mean, and if anything, the Zeus that we're getting is very like mythology accurate in the sense that Zeus has a big ego. He's a huge asshole. He doesn't care about anyone. He, sleeps with whoever he wants, does whatever he wants, and you just have to deal with it. And that's just the case. And I felt that Crow did embody that, but he also, like you were saying, the campiness of him doing it was painful. Like, it just was annoying to see him be campy.
I found, and maybe I am one big on dialogue in a movie,
Okay.
but like I just found there was camp after camp after camp after camp statements, and like, don't get me wrong, Thor is a diverse character, and I like that about Thor. I'm not against the concept that there was a goofy movie ish, like, because this was a lot. This was the funny Thor, like, I thought that was Ragnarok, but I'm wrong. This is it.
Yeah, this was definitely more comedic than even the last movie.
Yeah.
And Taika did an interview on Colbert's late night show and was bragging about the fact that, like, this movie is for 6-year-olds. Like, he like full on made a reference that this movie is like, this film is what 6-year-olds would probably find funny. And I was like, okay. I mean, I found it funny, but
that's, if that's the case, but that's what pisses that upsets me, because Thor as a franchise, that's not what he is. You know what I mean? And like, but again,
were originally for kids, so
I know, but again, in his defense, Thor as a character, one page he's doing the most badass thing in the world. The next page he's like having cake and throwing glasses around and joking.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I can't take that away from him. But like, if, like, example, there's already a rumor that he might do a 5th as long as Chris Hemsworth is down. Yeah. Sure, you want to do that? Make a series. Then make one that people will talk about. That's what, like, you gave me Ragnarok that people did say this was the best one so far.
Yes.
You gave me the funny one, but I want the one that people are going to talk about.
I don't think, what I mean? I don't think he would. I do not see him going serious for the next one.
But I'm not saying it has to be super serious, but I'm just saying, I know. Not this.
He would still end up doing this, though. That's the thing. Because I don't think Taika likes doing serious. What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, What We Do in the Shadows, the show, Jojo Rabbit, all of his films touch more on a comedic. There's a comedic link. The dude did a movie about Hitler where Hitler is the imaginary friend to a child. That's a weird thing. Like, he's not the type of guy to give you the serious movie. Branagh is the guy to give you the serious movie, and he did the first one, and he did a decent job with it. I still don't love the first Thor, but it's definitely better than the second one. But that was Branagh. Branagh gave you the Thor who's dealing with loss, who's dealing with being defeated, who's having to earn back his status and build himself up. Then you got the second one, which was a complete disaster.
Second worst Marvel movie there is.
Right. I still think it's the worst, but you and I debate Iron Man 3 and Thor 2 back and forth. Either way, they're both at the bottom, and we can agree on that.
Yeah. They both not doing anybody any favors.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're watching all of the movies, those are the two movies that you could probably tell people, you know what? This one, you get the Reality Stone, skip it. I just told you everything you need to know about that film.
It's a long story to just say, here it is.
Yeah.
That's really, because nothing happens in that story other than
exactly.
That.
And in this one, Tony's dealing with PTSD from what happened in Avengers. That's your story. There you go.
He gets over it.
Yeah. And now that they've done Shang-Chi, you don't even need the Mandalorian stuff.
You mean
Mandarin stuff? Sorry, you don't even need the Mandarin stuff because you have Shang-Chi, and they address all the stuff there. So
and they acknowledge that it's ridiculous,
right? And it's all done in Shang-Chi, so you don't even have to watch that movie now to understand the continuity of the universe, because they themselves have, like, sure, the PTSD and that little kid who shows up at his funeral, blah blah blah. Great job. It didn't even end up doing anything. It didn't matter ultimately. But I gotta say, I did like this movie, but I like this movie because I went into the movie being like, I'm not taking this seriously. I know Taika Waititi does not make, or at least when he's trying to be serious, I feel like he's always doing it comedically. So I was just like, he tries to, you know what I'll say? He tries to find you the spoonful of sugar to give you the medicine. The only thing is, in this movie, there was no medicine. There was no major universal thing that needed to be overcome in the story, because
other than defeating one person.
but that's what I'm saying, because Marvel in Phase 4 doesn't have a linear connection web through everything like it did with Phase 1 through 3. Or maybe no, because you find out pretty early on in Phase 1 things are happening and Thanos exists, right? Do you
Well,
only find out?
I mean, if you're paying attention, maybe not so much if you were, because Phase 1, maybe by the end of Phase 1, you know that because there's
Okay.
the Tesseract, right? Like the Tesseract is brought up twice.
Okay. But that's the problem. I think for us as fans, because we already went through Phase 1 and Phase 4 is the new Phase 1, it's hard to get into it because we're watching a whole bunch of movies that feel disconnected when we just finished watching 20-something movies that led up to one story.
But the thing about that as well is that, because, example, there is
And
one
that's
thing.
what I'll just finish what I was saying.
Oh,
and that's one of the reasons when it comes to Thor, that because Thor didn't feel like it had to try and connect to anything, I feel like that's where it lost some points for me. But I was also okay with that because I was just like, well, it's just a good, funny movie.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. Like, did I enjoy the comedy? Yeah,
Right.
I did like the action. Although I was a little annoyed that there was reusing the same scene, just changing the background in the skin. Like they did the whole Thor jumping, then it's
yes.
jumping with Jane. Then we're gonna do Thor
Yeah.
jumping again. Then we're gonna do Thor jumping with that kid.
Yeah.
Let's just do just that little kid. Let's do some random kids that don't make any sense. Like what's
Well,
no, they made sense because of like their attacking.
They're
But I mean,
Asgardian
like,
children, and they explained.
but it was like the same, like once, twice, okay, but it was
I'll
like
give you
5,
that.
6 times.
I'll give you that. They did do the kind of like Avengers, that shot of the Avengers all lined up, like attacking at once. But like they did that with just Thor and different people.
Yeah, but it's not just that
And
they
it's the
did
jumping. Yeah.
but it's not just that they did that, like that moment, right? You could have that moment, but when it's like the exact same,
That's fair.
it's like when you complain about a video game when like you get the second video game,
Yes,
and it's just like different skins of everything you've done from the first game. They're like, it's brand new, and you're like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
You know, like a perfect example is Batman Origins.
Okay.
Versus like the Batman Arkham's games.
Yeah.
It's like the Arkham City versus Origins, it's the exact same.
Okay.
But and the one thing I will say is, like, I didn't, like I said, I think it's more that I just found that a certain degree of the writing and a certain degree of the acting was phoned in. Like, I like Natalie Portman, I think, is a good actress, and I was there, I'm like, yeah, like you look like Amber Heard sometimes with Trying to Cry. Like, it was like, no.
Skipping. But you didn't think that she did a good job of being like someone who's dying of cancer and then now has the power of a thunder god. Like, I felt that her acting with that and trying to adjust her frame of mind and kind of being like, okay, so don't get me, okay, one thing I will say to you, and I'll admit, Jane spoke throughout the movie like a teenage boy who just learned how to dunk and was trying to figure out what his cool catchphrase should be after his dunk. So it would be like, hey, was that a good dunk? Should I go boom shakalaka at the end? Or was that a good dunk? Should I go, who's your mama? Like every time the character did this thing of like, hey, I have this idea. It was kind of a weird thing. And then like the awkward interactions between Thor and Jane talking about their relationship felt so unorganic, so robotic, I guess, because one of the problems was they had to fast track explaining that relationship to us because we didn't see it end.
But the other thing I also think, and maybe this is a suffering, like you have Chris Hemsworth who's done Thor now 10 times. Like, I'm over exaggerating it, but like between Thors and being
Thor
in
1,
other movies,
Thor 2, Thor 3, Thor 4, and the Avengers 1,
2, 3, 4.
But he's not in 3. He's not in the Avengers. He's not in Civil War. Oh no, that's Captain America.
No, I'm saying like you have Avengers, then you have Ultron, then you have part 1 and 2 of.
Yeah, sorry, I was thinking of Captain America: Civil War, as an Avengers film because I still think it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. That's a
so he's been doing it 8 times, whereas like
oh my
now
god, has he played Thor 8 times for real?
At least, not to mention any cameo that we might not be considering.
Yeah, we're probably missing for sure.
But like, so him versus Natalie Portman, who's only done it like really once, and like that also challenges like the concept of but what I'm saying is like there's the challenge of like trying to get a chemistry that you're trying to show a chemistry that has always been there with two people who have not acted the whole way through.
Well, that's what I was saying. We never saw that side of it, and they also did a very bad job of showing us that. Like, I don't think and I don't necessarily know if it's their acting or if it's just how robotic it felt because it felt unnatural. That I don't know. But I do understand what you're saying, and I do agree. Hold on. We have some comments here real quick. Darth wrote, I've only seen Thor 3 from all 4 Thor movies. That's fair. And then he also wrote, it doesn't bother me too much that every single movie in the MCU doesn't connect. I agree. And that's the thing. I'm not saying that it's a problem that all these films don't connect. I'm saying what I think happened with this film is Thor 1 and Thor 2 needed to connect. Thor 1 was the Loki stuff. Thor 2 is the Reality Stone. Thor 3 was them explaining where Thor and Hulk were during Civil War. So every Thor film so far has either been connected directly to the overarching story they're trying to tell or explaining something about the characters. This was the first film where Thor is just Thor on his own, disconnected from anything else. He's had these experiences, and now he's doing this one thing, and it's his story. It's not a story like I know Thor 1, some people would say it's his story, but it's his story in relation to needing him for the Avengers, building his character, and explaining who Loki is, and showing us who Loki is because Loki's the big bad for Avengers. We needed that stuff to happen. Thor 2, we needed all those things to happen, Malekith and everything, so that we could get the Reality Stone. We had a whole bunch of story built up for that to happen. And Thor 3, again, you're showing where these characters have been as to why that whole war that happened couldn't have just been stopped dead like that.
Yeah.
But in this film, it's just Thor, Ragnarok, a new Asgard, King Valkyrie, and a bunch of kids and Gore. And you're just telling that story, the story of the gods.
Yeah.
And I feel like Taika probably loved not having to be connected because I know that was it Thor 2? Or no, one of the Avengers films, they had to show Thor leaving at one point and coming back, and they didn't want to show that. Like they were like, that's not part of the story, but they were forced to because of the connections for later.
Yeah.
And Taika, I'm sure, was just like, I'm so happy I don't have to do any of that stuff. The only thing they had to do was show, and spoiler, once again, they had to show us that Hercules shows up at the end.
Yeah. But I find, like, again, some of the visuals are obviously cool.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
black and white stuff, or
that's one thing I was gonna give as like a big nod. I really liked how they did the Shadow Realm, and if that's how it would be for like future Marvel stuff, i.e., like, you know, Professor X and the X-Men and Shadow King and all that. If you're gonna bring us into that realm, I'm very down with that. Like, it was the first like astral type plane, like, look into things, so I was good with that. But I found, like, again, maybe it's just because for me, like, and again, I don't necessarily mind campiness, but some of the writing was campy. And, like, for example, sure, the Hammer being jealous was funny the first time.
Yeah.
But by the end, where he has to actually like talk to it, I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
that was a little.
I'm done with this joke.
Yeah, that was a little unfortunate. It was a little unfortunate. Again, you're right. At the beginning, where Thor's trying to bring Mjolnir to him when it's in Jane's hand, and then Stormbreaker just like slowly walks, like hovers into the room, and it's like, oh, hey, Stormbreaker. I was just and him and Korg are like talking, and Stormbreaker's there, and then, you know, and you get a whole bunch of those scenes. But then at the end of the film, when the big bad, first of all, that was one of the things that bothered me a little bit. The fact that Stormbreaker was the key to getting to Eternity, but Stormbreaker had only just been created recently. So I was just like, so throughout Eternity, Stormbreaker was always going to exist.
That, or maybe what's his name?
Heimdall?
Yeah, maybe he would have been the solution, but because he was dead, that was like the alternate.
I guess
because,
so.
Because it has the ability to travel, right? That's what I'm assuming. Right. That's why it could do that.
But super quick though, didn't Zeus's lightning have the ability to travel?
I do not remember, but
remember when
it had the ability to travel, but it was not done in the same form of traveling. It wasn't the big yellow rainbow specifically.
No, yeah,
Stormbreaker could do does the specific rainbow effect.
Yeah, like
let's say that represents a power. And
yeah,
he does like a different.
James always explaining to people, like the Eisenbridge, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that creates a mystical element that allows Malachorians or whatever it's
oh my god,
whatever the Jedi thing is,
yeah, midichlorians.
Yeah, that's it,
the thing that no one ever asked for. Good god. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so the Shadow Realm, great. The kids getting powered by Thor, I don't think you liked it, but
I didn't mind it. I wasn't minding. Like, that's the thing. I'm not saying the whole movie was bad. I'm just saying, like, for me, like, while
the little kid in the tutu with the wand,
yeah, that was hilarious,
and like killing people, like wrapping the energy of her wand around people around the shadow beasts to kill them.
The girl with like the butcher effect, like, that was great. Like, I'm not saying like I didn't mind.
So good.
Like, for me, it was just, I guess, you know what it is? It kind of reminded me a little bit why I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of Black Widow. There were certain times where you took me out of what I was caring about, and I didn't want that. Like, there's a serious moment, and then there's like a joke, or there's just something like, oh, I'm just gonna put this joke because I want there to be no silence in this moment. You're like,
yeah, okay.
I don't need that.
Yeah, okay. But you know what? I'll agree. The movie, and I'll say that the movie is not perfect.
Oh yeah, but at the same time, I did say I enjoyed it.
Yes,
I did say at the beginning.
You know me. The way I grade movies is you have great movies or like good movies. That's like these wild Oscar winning, even though the Oscars don't mean shit, but like these amazingly acted deep stories that change the way you think about the world, even sometimes. Those are like good movies to me. Then I have like good fun movies, and I feel like some of those movies, they're not as serious, but they're still fantastic to watch. Like About Time, a buddy of mine had spoken to me about it. It's about a guy who keeps time traveling when he goes into a closet. Like he finds out that the men of his family can time travel, and he figures out how to change aspects of his life. That movie I thought was fantastic, and I really liked it. And it's a good, fun movie. And then I have movies that are fun, that I'm just like, this is funny to me. Thor is a fun movie. It's not a good movie. I had a lot of fun watching it. I had a lot of fun watching the action, but at no point did I tell myself this is a great movie or this is a really good movie. Yeah. I think Taika, and I also think Taika Waititi actively wanted to just make a fun movie, especially when he makes comments like, this is, not, I'm not quoting him directly properly, but something akin to like, this is more for the kids.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like you were saying, it's an entertaining movie.
Yes.
Is it the most entertaining of, like, if you put a bar of, like, let's say we're taking it out of great movies, right? But if there's bars for entertaining, I still give it like a 6, a 7. But for me, it's not, you're not like, I'd be able to rewatch, like Harold and Kumar more than this movie to a certain degree. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I would give this movie a 6.
Yeah, that's what I would give it on the entertainment. But if someone's like, "Is this a great movie?" then my measurement would maybe change.
I just find it funny that we both had at the beginning of this, it felt like we were going to be on completely different pages. I agree with everything you said, and we're giving it the same score, but I'm okay with the fact that it's only a 6, and I enjoyed that. It sounds like you wanted it to be better than a 6.
I maybe had, because again, I don't watch commercials, right? I go out of my way not to watch commercials. So if I have anything on my mind about the movie, it's about the teaser, because I only allow myself the teaser unless the teaser is literally just like, a guy sitting there, like one of those really like real teasers,
Like when the teaser for Nope was just like the sky or something.
Yeah, exactly. But in going to this movie, I'm like, okay, I had a certain degree of like example, I knew it wasn't going to be a serious movie or anything like that. Although I was like, Christian Bale is going to be in it, so I did like example,
right?
And I said it at the beginning. I find Christian Bale did a great job in this movie.
And you know what? I'll even say real quick, Christian Bale starting the film with his kid dying really set the tone for what I thought was going to be a much more serious film. And then you get Christian Bale ends up in the God's plane for whatever religion he's a part of, meets his God treats him like crap. God's constantly laughing at him, tells him he doesn't really matter, picks up, and then the sword comes into play, and then the movie takes a turn of like gets really dark, comedic.
Yeah,
that's the part I thought was interesting. So yeah,
because there was a DC effect in this movie. You know what I mean? There was a Justice League problem at some point, sometimes in this movie.
Bad words.
Yeah, well, I mean, but again, if he was making it for children, which I disagree about, because if you're going to make this movie, it technically should have been for all ages, because that's where the franchise has been. But if you're doing that, then he probably did. Like again, like if I had kids and they were going crazy about it, I'd be like, I guess he did a good job. But as someone who's
and they have been, kids are going crazy for the movie.
Yeah,
kids love the film.
And for me, again, it's like, well, like, I've been a fan of, like, some of these kids are like going to the movies for the first time. I've been paying attention to this franchise in these last 3 movies. I would like something fair. Fairer.
Do you want me to say it though?
I know we're old and we're not attractive.
We're old.
Fine. But if anything, I'm buying the more expensive shit that you have
for now. But Disney's planning 20 years from now. The same way Disney planned from 2008 to somewhere around 2019 is the same way Disney is now like, all right, we're planning for 2032.
And I'm not
that's
denying,
the crazy part.
I'm not denying these statements, but then again, that's exactly why it gets the 6. And if it wasn't for like certain caveats, like example, if it wasn't for the fact that yes, obviously some of the fights were dope.
Yes, great fight.
If it wasn't for the fact
Shadow Realm fight, wonderful.
Yeah, the Shadow Realm itself, like the Shadow Realm itself, by being done how it was, it got a point.
Yeah,
if the Shadow Realm sucked, my thing would have been probably lower.
That is fair,
like straight up.
And I like how the saturation didn't, like the desaturation didn't affect certain things, like the lightning bolt, Mjolnir, like certain things didn't lose their light, and when they got closer to the people, the like they would get their color back when they got further. Like those little details, I was like, oh, that's good. Those are
they did like an amazing job. That's why I was saying, like, I really liked it as like, I'm curious what you'll do with the astral plane if you're going to do something like this, because like like technically, because is the Shadow Realm technically in the astral plane, or is it 2 different realms?
I don't think it's in the astral plane. I just think it's like a separate realm in space that like that has no light. It just absorbs all light, or I guess as depicted, all color.
Yeah, exactly. But all life. That's what it was trying to do. It's trying to be like really black and right. So you can't just be in black, because then you don't see anything. Like for those things, like there was fun. Obviously there were Thor. Chris Hemsworth did do great Thor moments as well. But and I did enjoy some of Valkyrie's.
I love King Valkyrie,
but
I love King Valkyrie
again. Like some of it, I was like, also meh.
King Valkyrie's whole idea when they got to the Olympiad, the like home of the gods where they hang out. And she's just like, yeah, let's just ransack this place. And Jane was just like, let's do it. And Thor's like, no. Like the fact that Thor was the one that was like, guys, we can't just fight. We have to, actually come up with a plan. I was just like, ugh, this is boring. Let's do it. Let's kill some people. And then Valkyrie was just like slicing people with her sword, being sprayed in the ichor, and was just like the blood of gods and just like living in it. I was like, this is fantastic. And then Jane was being Jane in the sense that, She did not know exactly what she was doing, but she was trying her darndest.
I did like what they did with the hammer. That's another thing I'll say. I'll give kudos
like
to
the
that.
splitting apart.
Yeah, like the fact that like it's because she needs it. Because I read it as Mjolnir is doing this because Thor told her Mjolnir a long time ago. You take care of her, and that's why Mjolnir won't like. I'm not listening to you because you told me not to listen to you.
Yeah, you've already made me take an oath.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like, and I'm assuming that it's not going to come back. Like it's going to die because it's like it loses.
Oh, interesting.
Because like it didn't come back at the end, right? Like so, unless Thor goes back and gets the hammer again, which it could be if they ever do like another thing and they want to do a Beta Ray Bill and all that, like maybe they will do it. But like as far as I was concerned, it looked like it wasn't coming back afterwards.
Yeah, that's fair.
But again, like how they made it like break apart and how she was able to basically have more than just a hammer was very well done. And believable.
Yeah. All right, man. I feel like we've discussed it enough. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. We'll answer this question real quick from Darth. He asked, so do both of you think the Eternals is better than Iron Man 3 and Thor 2? Yes. I don't have to think about that. I think the Eternals is better than both those films. Dave, shame on you.
It's definitely better than
Iron Man on 3. You. You think the Eternals was worse than Thor 2?
I'll say no now, but I would have to. I would
lose a lot of respect.
I will say this. I'll say this right now. I've rewatched Thor 2. I am not planning on rewatching Eternals.
You say that now, but you might watch the Eternals again one day.
Honestly, the only way is if somehow in the future that movie is super important. That's the only fucking way.
I'll say this to you now. When you saw Thor 2, much like me, you had a moment where you said, I'm never watching this again. Yes or no?
Let me put it this way.
Because yes or no first. Yes or no first.
I was, because I always had the intent. Oh, perfect answer. Yes, because I always had the intention of adding it to my DVD collection, which I still collect DVDs for certain categories of movies.
Okay.
Which would be this. Eternals is the first one that I'm considering not getting.
That is insane. Anyway.
So that's why.
Like, Darth, you asked a question that made me second guess Dave in so many ways.
I was tired of that film. And how many times have I said Eternal sucks? Because you know what? I'm sorry. It did. It blew a nut bag.
Sure.
Whole bag.
You can dislike it. I don't dislike it as much as you do, but my God, I would much rather watch the Eternals over Thor 2. Easily.
There's borderline
better action scenes, better flashbacks, better comedic moments. There's so many reasons why the Eternals is a better watch than Thor 2. But hey, let's not start a whole different discussion.
No.
Moving on. To do that. The Boys season 3
as long as we could agree that it still sucks.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's not great. So, The Boys season 3 finale. Folks, once again, we're going to be talking spoilers, but I feel like this one you should be okay with because this one's about a week ago, and you guys should definitely be fine with us discussing it. The Boys, Homelander, Soldier Boy, Maeve,
I'll say that
Starlight, all the idiots.
All the idiots. What I'll say is this. I enjoyed it, but I won't lie. There was a fumble.
There's a lot of fumbles. I enjoyed it, but I think there was a lot of fumbles.
But the main fumble, which is probably a lot of the fumbles you're about to talk about, is that basically everything you thought was going to happen happened, and B, it was
I wish beyond not only the stuff he called it happened.
Not only agreed, but actually that's a lie because he said May was going to die and she didn't.
I mean, you thought she was dead though.
But that's the thing. That's the thing I didn't like. You gave me a payoff. You gave me a quote unquote payoff at the end, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because I was like, you're gonna kill Homelander or Soldier Boy. One of them's got to go.
Right.
You know that no matter what, if you want to have another season, no matter what, one of them has to go. And in the next season, the other one has to go because it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yes.
But the fact that you see the ending that I did, because honestly, I would have rather Soldier Boy than Homelander, only in that, like, again, I think Homelander has really we've gone through it. I don't find there's many more angles with it, and it's only because how the season ended with him getting back his son and stuff, that's the only thing that makes it kind of interesting what will happen. Because is it going to be like Invincible, but like they're just both bad people?
Evil.
Who knows?
Okay. Yeah.
Like there is that interest, but that's like really thin lines. But the fact that at the end you're like, okay, so they died, and then 2 seconds later, both of them didn't die. I'm like,
Yeah.
like, come on. Like Maeve is just, and then you have easy outs for both. If Maeve needs to come back, they'll give her some V, and then she'll get her powers back.
Which he's established with Kimiko.
Exactly. Like you have that, that for a fact. It's either it'll kill her or it'll bring her back, because they said that it was either going to kill her or give it back. So
and we know it'll probably bring her back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you could bring her back, and Soldier Boy's just on ice again. I'm like, nothing happened. Nothing happened at the beginning of the season. She was a drunk idiot who was useless. Now she's a human idiot that's fucking useless.
Yeah,
and he didn't exist before. He doesn't exist now. Like,
yeah.
And,
okay. So for me, I think the fact that they decided to keep Homelander over Soldier Boy, to me, was a little disappointing. Because, guys, you're starting to have Walking Dead syndrome, where every season is the same story being retold in a different way. And it's getting to the point where I'm not finding Homelander interesting. I don't find that level of like prideful supremacy covering like weak incel energy. Like when Soldier Boy called him out to be like, man, I wish I could have raised you because you are a little son of a donkey. Like you are just not a man. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's toxic the way Soldier Boy is describing his idea of masculinity, but at the same time, it's still crazy that Homelander is, because Homelander's whole thing is insecurity and weakness. And Soldier Boy was just like, you are weak. You have all the power in the world, but you are actually a weak person. Like, I am ashamed that you are of my blood. And I thought that was kind of like, because when Homelander had Ryan and was just like, Dad, we could be a family, and brings out he's like, this is your grandson. I was just like, buddy, I do not think this is going to go the way you think it's going to go. Soldier Boy to me does not seem like the type of guy who's just like, son, grandson, it's your pappy. Like, no, they've established he's an asshole. So
to be honest, one thing I was hoping in that moment of initially watching it, I'd be like, it'd be so dope for him to turn around and be like, oh, wait, there's another one of you, and I could like just groom him to be like me.
Right. Okay.
Clack. Like right. Dude, I was hoping so bad. I was hoping so bad.
As soon as he showed Ryan, I really thought, just like you, oh, he's going to kill Homelander and try and take Ryan. And season 4 will be Ryan being raised by Soldier Boy on the run, and the boys trying to save Ryan. Because
they writes itself.
They haven't done a season where they're trying to save Ryan that way. Like, you know, when he was trying to be with Becky, it was more like Becky's hidden. Let's try. And he didn't really, and you know,
he's always been in the background. He's always been a background, like a real, like you're over there.
Yeah. But I agree with you that I think it would have been cool to see what would happen if Soldier Boy had the second chance and now sees the second chance. It was just like, I'm going to raise this kid to be the hero I always wanted to see. And, you know, helps kill, like, and also he doesn't do it as in like in front of everybody. He helps them beat Homelander first, and then after the fight is done, finds Ryan and leaves with Ryan.
Yeah, exactly.
And then season 4, instead of seeing Ryan standing next to Homelander giving that creepy smile when Homelander kills somebody, and Ryan is like a fucking proud boy, like standing there smiling, it would have been cooler to see Ryan looking kind of scared, but Soldier Boy like telling him like, you're going to be the strong, like really pumping him up, but also being like, we're going to do this together. We're going to show the world what a real hero is.
Yeah. And I hate this. Yeah. Sorry, go on. No, it's because I was going to say, I hate to say that, like to take out Homelander in a sense, like, you know, I will say this, the actor who does him does a great job.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like he does a great job.
He does a good job of me hating him.
And, you know, and I feel like even as how, if you read Homelander in the comic books, like he does the transition as well. Like, you know what I mean? But like we were saying, like I just find that the story arc, like basically they probably were in the writer's room more likely talking about these exact two scenarios, the one that they went with and the one that we're talking about. Because how that season was ending, you're going one of two ways. And they probably didn't get Soldier Boy, the actor, to commit for another season. He probably didn't want to do it for.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Maybe he didn't want to do it. You know, because he's been doing TV for so long. I imagine he just doesn't want to be tied to like, well, I might do this for another 15 season. I don't want to do that again, you know?
Honestly, like, no hate on Supernaturals, but sometimes I really think Jensen Ackles could have been a bigger actor had he not stayed on the show for 15 seasons.
Oh, 100%. He was.
Because I think
Jensen. Sorry. Go.
Well, I was just gonna say I think Jensen Ackles, when it comes to the superhero genre, is like almost perfect to play. Like, he could play almost like a Bruce. He could play like he kind of has that.
He has a superhero look.
Yeah, that old fashioned.
He has the bold and the brave look. That's basically what he has.
Yes. He has that classic superhero kind of style to him that I feel like if you clean him up and put him in a suit, he could do that. Or if you want him to play someone who's down on their luck, he can do that.
Yeah. And if you want him to be if you want him to be evil, you just make him dirty looking. Like, you know what I mean?
Like
just like exactly. So like he's diverse in that. But I know exactly what you're talking about. And I agree. Like, but at the same time, like, you know, he did make a legacy. That show, obviously. I mean, it's not my show, but it's like
400 and something episodes. You established the bar.
Yeah, like it beats out the Buffys and the Charms and all that stuff.
Right.
The myth. What would you call that? I guess
I would say like the kind of mystic,
mystic horror
genre,
like TV genre. They mastered that. They're the bar, as you said. It was Buffy. It was Charmed. Then it was Buffy, and then it's this now. That's basically what kind of what. That's how
I would put those shows on par together.
Well, I would say due to their longevity.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
You know,
I'm agreeing. Yeah, that they Charmed, Buffy, and there've been a lot of shows that have tried to recapture that really fanatic fandoms that really love the shows. But you can't, because those shows had something unique about them. Buffy, for example, going back to Comic Con, Stylen, when I spoke to the dude, he said the first thing that sold out was the Buffy boxes. They had 10 of them. Yeah, they had 10 of them, and he didn't realize how much people were going to want the Buffy boxes.
Oh, yeah. If my friend was there at the time, she would have definitely taken that home.
Yeah, he said he regretted not bringing more of them.
Yeah, because I don't know how that stock works. In regards to which ones
they bring a certain amount. They bring a certain amount, and once they run out, they run out.
Yeah, because they were bare by Saturday.
Oh, dude.
Like it was wild. It was like a ghost town.
He was saying they ran out midway through Saturday, and Sunday their wall was just going to be the one box, like an anime show. I don't remember which one.
No one. It wasn't a big hit or whatever.
No, it was a big show, but they brought so much of that one because it's such a popular show. That they had so much of it that it was the only thing they had left over because everything else sold out.
Because I was so lucky in the morning, not to go too much back into Comic-Con talk, but like I remember in the morning I made like the decision to buy them all. And even at one point in time, I was like, should I wait? I'm like, it's only because I had the Zelda one. I'm like, there's not a lot of Zeldas. I don't want to wait, so I'm gonna buy the others. But then like the last, like imagine I bought that, then went away, and by the time I came back, it was like a tumbleweed was walking through it. I was like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah, they did well. Well, okay, so for the boys, let's go over it real quick. Huey, kind of an idiot. I'm always. Butcher, a bigger idiot, but I think he had a solid story this season.
Stubborn, very much stubborn.
Very stubborn, yeah. I think Huey finally redeemed himself when he realized instead of taking the Temp V to try and save Starlight, he can support Starlight, and that's when he realized, like, oh, if I juice her up, she'll be able to handle whatever happens next. And that was, to me, I was just like, oh, finally you guys realized what you needed to do with him. And I was like, cool. Butcher, I was kind of like, you're never going to redeem Butcher. He's crazy. He's angry. His character lives in that.
He's the wild card.
Yeah, and he disrespected his whole team for the third season in a row. And they keep, and again, this is why I say Walking Dead syndrome. This is the third season where Butcher has done what Butcher wanted to do, and the team has to just deal with the fact that Butcher does not care what he's doing.
Yeah, Butcher always does it in a way that he makes them, like, example, was in it because it was Soldier Boy. Anywhere Soldier Boy, he was gonna go. You know what I mean? But even at that, Frenchie and Kamiko, like, I like that they got a solid side story that established them. And I'm happy that at the end he literally was like, no, fuck you, I ain't gonna do this anymore. Like, I was happy that he stuck up, and like, just so that you know, like, he's like, and he ultimately obviously helped them, but he helped them because he's like, I'm helping you because I know I need to do this, but you will still not, like, I'm not taking this shit.
I just hope that moving forward, the show understands you have, like, if you're establishing that this is the new norm as a team, that they all vote and they don't just follow Butcher, please stick to that. Don't fall back into the trap of Butcher getting to make decisions. I mean, now that we know, and again, once again, spoilers, Butcher is dying because of what he did to himself with the Temp V, and he's told he only has a couple months left to live. So we know the next season he's probably going to have some kind of miraculous redemption arc and get saved or whatever. Who knows? We'll find out. But I'm really hoping that because he's dying doesn't turn into a crutch where he just gets to act however he wants, and they all kind of accept, oh, well, he's dying, so let's just let them, like, he's dying, so let him just do what he wants. Like,
well, I hope they don't. I hope they do kind of what, if I remember correctly, and again, like, I haven't read the last few issues of, because I that was one of those comic books that when I knew there was an ending, I kind of understood the general concept. I read the last few issues.
Okay.
But if I remember correctly, Huey and Butcher, they have like a final standoff in like an equivalent to like a Sleepless in Seattle building. Like, they're at the top of the building and whatever.
Oh,
and
like, they have a point standing.
Yeah. And Huey pulls the trigger on him and like ends it. So I kind of hope that they go more along that line. Of like, you know, you've gone so, like, example, it would be
that's going to be the last season though.
Yeah, the last season with Butcher, because for all they have a lot of characters that they could potentially make this go on longer. Now,
yes, but I mean, Butcher is a lot of the.
Oh no, of course, like, but again, and don't be wrong, Carl Urban does an amazing job.
Fantastic job.
Definitely, when he goes on the screen, I'm stopping, like, my full and utter attention is going on.
Yeah.
You know, but if they were to ultimately say, no, we're going to kill him off, I think that the ending should be like, you know, that happens, but like, you kind of, but at that time, you either have like another, you'd have to have another Butcher like character in the sense of a strong character, but you turn Huey into the leader.
Yeah,
like, there's a passing of the baton of leadership, but you have
or if without a leader, they do it as a team.
Yeah, but I'm just, because they always have someone who steers direction, and then they make a choice about it, right?
Oh, okay, that's
like
fine.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what Butcher's, like, he's been most of the time. He's like, we're going in this direction,
right? Okay,
and then sometimes he takes everyone's opinion and does what they do, or takes everyone's opinion and says, "Fuck you, I'm going to do what I want to anyways." But there's always someone who's kind of like, we have 3 doors. Which door are we going in?
Yeah,
we're going to go through this door, but now I need you guys to make the decisions of what we do with this door.
Yeah.
You know? So that's how I'd imagine if they were to do it. But again, like we said, it would be a hard void to fill. But at the same time, maybe Carl Urban, like, you know, he's also later in his career, maybe there's certain things he wants to do.
Yeah, I could see that. I think, you know, and I think Jack Quaid, who plays Huey, is, like you're saying, he's pretty young. He's, you know, it's funny that you said Sleepless in Seattle, because Jack Quaid is Dennis Quaid's son, who, and I think Meg Ryan is his mom.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. If you look at 2 pictures of them, if you put his picture in the middle of like 2 younger pictures of them, you could literally, like, it looks like they did it. Like, you know what I mean? It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mother's Milk also had a great storyline. Mother's Milk's wife's husband, her new, the guy with glasses who was taking the daughter to Homelander. So that creepy. Dude is the epitome of incel energy who ended up getting married.
He's like, the definition of a lackey.
He's just so angry that I don't understand why he's angry. Like the wife doesn't seem like she's controlling him. He has a nice home, a good family. Like what
That,
where and that
that's what even white people call privileged.
right. I mean, yeah, dude, because they're really that character is the epitome of like just genuinely being a bad person. And Mother's Milk, I understand why MM is just like, yo, I need to. This dude is not good around my kid.
Mm.
He's all for the corruption that happens. He's kind of like Blue Hawk without powers, and that was something
Yeah.
that I thought was interesting to see in this season. To see a lot of, I mean, they've done it in the past, but to see a lot of references to how crazy and how dangerous some of these characters can be. Speaking of dangerous characters that I don't think anyone ever gave a fuck about, the Deep.
Yeah, I
Homelander
didn't.
just sends him to murk somebody.
But he's again another definition of like you have a superhero lackey and you have a human lackey. Those are what you like. The
Yeah,
Deep is a lackey. He's a person searching for a ridiculous amount of direction and like an
approval, acceptance.
approval.
Yeah,
But it's going to be funny when it ultimately to see him turn evil and become like I don't need anyone's approval or anything because I think that's what's going to happen with this girl. Because remember, the girl is like in too deep. That's the book
yeah,
that she's
yeah.
making at the end. I would like to finally see that character snap and go like when we say evildoer, I don't care if it's an actual evildoer or like if
You want to
it's
see her snap or the
no,
Deep snap?
no, deep snap. I would love to see the deep snap and finally like at least be able to put 1+1 together and become just a dark evil person.
Like an evil Aquaman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I would like him to be a Homelander equivalent of
Oh,
Aquaman.
interesting. Okay.
I would like to see that happen. I'd like to see Homelander break him to that point and then Homelander to be like, finally, someone I can trust.
Okay.
Something like that, you know?
For Ashley, Ashley, I'm like, okay, you're a character, you're there, whatever. A Train,
Eh,
some of the B plot stories that they wrote, I feel they were unsure what to do with them, so they had them in there to just say we have this here. But I don't necessarily feel they fleshed them out. The A Train story with the heart condition,
I,
yes,
I,
he got
I
his comeuppance when they did the
yeah.
whole scene where Ashley's just like, shut up. Like the amount of things I've had to do because of you, you can't turn around and ask for justice because something bad happened this time.
Mm.
And then his brother being like, that's not what I wanted. I wanted that guy to get arrested. I didn't want him to just end up dead. That doesn't give
Yeah.
me that's vengeance, it's not justice. And I thought that was good, but it was such a minute background story
Yeah.
that I was like,
Like I like to see that there was consequences and people realizing like being able to explain to people like even if you have great power like it kind of doubles down on the Spider-Man great power comes great responsibility type speech. That's what they were going for. But at the same time, at that point in time, I'm like, you know what? And it's not against the actor because I think the actor does a good
oh,
job.
he did a great job.
But like kill him off then. Like I don't need it.
Well,
I don't need this story. But the problem
that's
with
the
saying
problem.
that is that then you lose representation as well in the show.
I mean,
But
they can't kill him off. They already killed off Black Noir,
yeah,
which
exactly.
I thought was ridiculous.
It
They
was
got
ridiculous how they did it.
Yeah, they got rid of Stanley Edgar.
Yeah.
Like you got rid of a significant amount of black characters in the
Yeah.
show, and I know Black Noir. Some people will be like, "Well, you never see him." Just like, yeah,
But
but
you do. But you do. You see him
like you
back in
know
the
he's
day.
black. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you know the guy in the suit is black. So then you're like, okay, well, he's a black guy. Stanley Edgar is like Italian, and the actor Giancarlo Esposito is Italian and African American, if I'm not mistaken. I
Something
know a
like
lot of people think he's Hispanic, but he's actually not, and he actually talks about that quite a bit. That he's, I'm actually Italian of origin, but yeah, it was interesting, like just seeing the diversity. But hey, I guess in their heads they're like, yeah, but Victoria Newman is going to be the vice president of the United States in this new universe. It's just
yeah.
like, I guess so. I don't know, guys. Like, again, don't get me wrong. Don't include diversity for the sake of diversity. Include it because like you are writing a good story, and these characters are naturally occurring there, and you don't have a blind spot to it. You know that these people would exist. But when you start kind of like who got killed off this season on the team in the way that Homelander killed off Black Noir. Who else?
What's his name?
Sonic.
Who technically would have been Hispanic. So
He
it's
is
like,
not
you know,
technically. He is Latin. He's Latino. He's Hispanic.
but the actual actor as well, or just the character?
Who cares? Either way,
Okay.
actor and character doesn't matter. Like, you don't have him. You got rid of Black Noir. Like, who else? Because that's the thing. And I get that they're doing this whole thing of like Homelander doesn't even care about that stuff. He'll kill anyone. But then if he'll kill anyone, why are you guys running a story where he constantly keeps killing all the people of color?
But that's the thing. Like, why wasn't Black Noir killed in a way that he's coming back, whereas like Maeve is still alive? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why are you making these weird, not weird, like, I don't know. Like I said,
but even that would have been a woman. Like,
for me, the direction's a little weird. But I mean, again, we don't know the long-term plan. We don't know who they're going to bring in next. Like, you know, and it's not like they haven't, like, example, like they could have gotten away with it if it was Maeve, because they already had they've not been lacking on strong female characters. They've had strong female characters who would be still alive in the show. And even ones who are like, this is a strong female character, and oh, she's also the strong villain character. So like you've had a good couple. Even Grace and Butcher's girlfriend, I thought they're strong characters. But I find that, like, I don't know, like you said, I think in general we're saying the same thing. The direction's just a little off, and it's like enough of the Homelander stuff.
Really. Guys, we've been saying it. You do not fall into the trope of Walking Dead syndrome.
Yeah.
The Walking Dead's not the only show that's ever done it, but they are the ones that have done it to death in one of the worst ways. Yeah. Even they know they have to move away from the stuff that they're doing. So,
I mean, they moved away by canceling the show.
Yeah, because it's done, right? It's the next season is the last season?
I believe so.
Yeah. Guys, we're pretty much at the end of the show. I'll just say this. If you haven't had the chance to watch Station 11, I highly recommend you check it out, because I got to finally start watching a few episodes and I very much enjoy it. It's based on a book that I've never read, and I spoke to one of my friends who has read the book. She said, and her and I were like discussing some of the changes they made. She said it sounds really good what they're doing, and she loved it. She was just like, yeah, this sounds cool. I think people should check it out based on what you're saying. So
quick elevator pitch of what it's about.
It's about a post-apocalyptic world where a pandemic has hit, and there's a prophet who refers to people as pre-pan and post-pan, and he believes that the post-pans are the only honest people and that pre-pans are all liars. And then you have anyone who was alive before the pandemic is evil. And then the main story is about this young girl, Kirsten, who was a Shakespearean actress when she was a kid. She grows up. She ends up surviving by becoming part of a traveling troupe of actors. And she is kind of dealing with the world as it is, because her parents both died during the pandemic, and she got saved by somebody, and she lost that person, and she lost other person, and she lost another person. So she kind of has this like really warped way of like, don't trust anybody outside of my specific family. And it serves her well, but it's also hurting her because some of the people that are around her are kind of tired of the distrust that she has with everyone. But if you ask me, she's fucking right. Don't trust anyone. It's a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
You guys are all idiots. She's the only smart person, but I guess we'll find out. I'm only on episode 3. So all that to say, go check it out. It's a fun show. Station 11. It was a HBO Max original. And now we're going to get to Geek News and Rumors. To finish off the show, Geek News and Rumors, we have the first one. Boseman, Jeffrey Wright, Abraham get Emmy noms for their Marvel roles. That's pretty cool. I was F. Murray Abraham when he left the what's the name of the show that he was on Apple TV? Mythic Quest. Because he's not coming back for the next season of Mythic Quest. And I was so disappointed. But then he did an amazing job as Khonshu. So I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool. Solo star Aiden Ekin. Oh man, I never pronounced this guy's name.
Renrich?
The guy who starred in Solo as Han Solo, that wasn't a good actor that they had to get a coach for. and then was in the other show, the Brave New World. That guy. Anyways, that guy has joined the cast of Marvel Ironheart series.
That
Fingers
but
crossed.
with Disney money, he got acting lessons.
Well, he had Disney money last time for a Solo.
But now they actually realize how bad it was. Now they have Disney money giving him acting lessons.
I don't know. I'm shocked that Disney decided to go down this road again with him, because they didn't really seem. But I mean, maybe it was a factor of the movie before. Solo was kind of a doomed project early on, so who knows? But whatever. He got the acting lessons, and now will be doing this Ironheart as whatever character. I do not know. We'll see. Fingers crossed it's something good. Rob Zombie, the Monsters trailer reveals it's in an origin story. It is an origin story. I hate that trailer. I think the whole thing looks like low quality, and I don't understand what is happening. I'm disappointed, and I am concerned about them releasing it.
Did you like the Monsters out of
I
curiosity?
watched the original series as a kid. If you were a kid in Montreal, on CBC after school, they played the Munsters, the Addams Family, all those shows when I was a little kid were played after school. And this trailer looks horrible. I'm sorry.
I didn't see it yet. I just saw the news flash, because apparently it's about the mom and the dad, like,
before they had
courting.
the werewolf kids.
Yeah, it's them courting each other, basically, from my understanding.
Ugh. Anyways, okay, sure. I don't know, man. I saw that trailer and I was just like, "Oh, this doesn't look good." But again, I'm not the right audience for this. I watched it as a kid because it was on, but I didn't necessarily watch it because I thought it was good. I was a kid and it was TV, so I kind of just watched TV because, at the time I only had two channels. You had CBC and CTV. This was even before Global existed in Canada. And if you're old enough to remember those times, those were the dark times for some of us. But yeah. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, Rob Zombie's done some cool stuff, so it's not a knock on him. I think he can produce a good film. The quality when I see the trailer, I'm like, I don't understand what's happening here.
But that's his movies, though. No, isn't his always like, I haven't seen the commercial, right? But like, his movies usually are low budget in representation.
Like, it looks like someone filmed it with a HD phone. Like that.
Oh, okay, that's pretty low.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being an asshole, but and then the last bit of news is what we already talked about. Taika said he would return if Chris Hemsworth returns, which, like you were saying, if he does, hopefully you get a more serious movie. In my opinion, you will definitely not.
I'm just saying, don't go further down this rabbit hole. You can't, like, this has to be the floor. If there is,
I mean,
if they go before this floor, it is hell.
It is. I mean, they introduced
that's what they'll do.
They introduced Valhalla. They introduced and Hercules is coming.
It's possible. Not saying it's good. Just because Darth asked in the comments, in regards to season 4 of The Boys, yes, it was confirmed. That was a Geek News and Rumors from a while ago, but just so you know.
Brett Goldstein is the guy who was cast as Hercules. If you guys don't know him, I would say check him out on Ted Lasso. He plays Roy Kent, the soccer star. Great character, does a great job with it. He also has a podcast that is called, I'll look it up real quick because I actually do have it on my phone, where he reviews, if I'm not mistaken, films to be buried with. And he reviews, like,
that's a deep term.
Yeah, he like talks to people about movies and stuff that he's into. Films to be buried with Brett Goldstein. Yeah. So yeah, he's gonna be Hercules. I'm not gonna deny, when I saw him as Hercules, I was just like, oh no, I don't like it. But but he might do an amazing job.
They usually cast well. So
yes, that's
like, that's the one thing you can't say against Disney or Marvel. Exactly. Whoever's in charge of that casting crew, they do a good job.
Have they ever poorly casted a character?
Define poorly, because like there's got to be somebody.
The person didn't look or act like the character whatsoever. Okay.
Any important
hold on, let me give you an example. Lex Luthor, played by the dude from the Facebook movie Social Network.
Yeah.
That was bad casting.
Has Marvel from Smallville?
No, the Lex Luthor in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
in this Man of Steel movie,
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh yeah, no, that was a horrible casting.
That is bad casting. So
It could have been good if it was done.
has Marvel ever done casting like that?
No,
Okay.
not to date.
Not
to
that I
date.
can think of. If anyone could think of a character that Marvel has poorly cast, hit us up. Yeah. Darth asks us, do you guys think Hemsworth wants to return for Thor 5 specifically? I don't know.
He
I mean,
seems to have fun with it, but I mean,
yeah, if I'm making money and my movies are doing fine, why
Mhm.
would I not do another one? What do I care?
Mhm.
And also, when someone interviewed him and asked him about showing his butt in this movie, he talked about the fact that this was 10 years in the making of me working out to the point where I felt comfortable enough doing this. So, hey, maybe he's done, maybe he's not. We'll find out with you, folks. That's it.
But I also feel though, like, if it was the right story or whatever or scenario, I can imagine him wanting to do it. Because
Oh.
let me put it this way: would you say this is a movie you'd be like, yeah, close the book on that? I don't think so. Like, you know
No,
what I mean?
that did not feel like the end or give us closure on the Thor story.
Yeah, and I don't think that unless Marvel's long-term goal is we don't care about recasting, we're going to recast people later, that's fine.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem to be the case, but
yeah,
depends.
That's the whole show, folks. We had a great time hosting another wonderful edition of Geektastic Cypher with you guys. Is there anything special you wanted to tell people, Dave?
Eternal sucks.
I mean, yeah, and Thor 2 and Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
And
I just like ending the show by saying that.
It's
been like 5 times I've done it, and
I don't like Age of Ultron. Even on rewatches, I'm still like, this is still not really a good film. But
that's a good question. Would you think that Eternals is better or worse than Age of Ultron?
No, Age of Ultron is better.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't like Age of Ultron on the one time or the 2 times that I've rewatched it has some really fun scenes, but I still don't think it's better than the Eternals. But again, Eternals, I think for me, one of the issues is I'm actually a big fan of the Eternals. Like, I have Neil Gaiman's run of the Eternals, John Romita Jr. Like, I like the characters and the story that is around that universe that Kirby was building. So when I saw the movie, I was just like, you guys are just not doing this justice. For me, it's a factor of not doing it justice, which is also why, like, when I saw Brett Goldstein as Hercules, I was just like, don't think you're doing him justice. But hey, again, that was a 2-second scene. We'll see. Russell Crowe, though, kind of did Zeus well, but not what I was expecting.
Honestly, I was disappointed with the visual presentation of Zeus.
All right, folks, that's the whole show. We had so much fun. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys like this t-shirt that I'm wearing with the and once again, if you guys are listening to this, we highly recommend you check us out on youtube.com/freeXagentsmedia, or you can hit us up on twitch.tv/geektasticcypher. I just wanted to tell people about this shirt because I got it from, oh man, I just had her business card right next to me. Where did it go? Oh, are you kidding me? I just lost the business card, folks. That's so annoying.
It's a dope shirt, though. I almost bought the Zelda one.
Right. Because I know it's called Pop Squatch. I'm just going to type it in and see if I can find it. Pop Squatch. Pop Squatch Designs. There we go. I was able to find it. The shirts are made by a bleaching technique. So they put the image over and then apply like a bleach solution and then bleach out the color from the shirt to create this in the negative space. The thing that I like about the Batman shirt is because you guys know this is Dark Knight Frank Miller's cover, but that kind of like lightning on the side, she does that by hand, and each t-shirt is different.
Oh, nice.
Because she can't replicate it the way she does it. There's no way to replicate that en masse. So she does it by hand for each one, which I thought when she said that, I was like, that sounds crazy. I was like,
it sounds like a lot of work.
She had hundreds of shirts on that table. And I was just like, you're telling me like the Batman, there's like a few shirts specifically that she said, yes, some of these shirts I have to do a specific thing to each of them by hand. And I was like, that is nuts to me. But, if you guys want to check her out, it's Pop Squatch Designs. POPSQUATCH Designs. And also, you know, I want to give another shout out to the boys at Squared Ideas. You guys did an amazing job again at that panel. It was so much fun to see. And I look forward to you guys doing more panels in the future. And if you guys want to support, Dave, where can people check out the Squared Ideas stuff?
Well, you can follow us on Instagram, squared_idea, or just follow us on our website, www.squared- when I say dash, I actually mean the dash, not written, idea.com.
There you go. That's the whole show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another one. Peace, y'all.
Peace.